Any better now? Anything coming through? One of the difficulties is there's a 10-second delay between me changing something and it actually happening. So yes. Yes. Oh dear. Brilliant. Finally, really sorry about that. 15 minutes in, we're finally getting to start. Renee, you were right on the money. There was a little mute thing, but it's in the settings anyway. And I was testing it earlier on with just the output on the monitor, which means I can listen to it on headphones. And I obviously didn't reset it. Phew! Thanks so much for staying around while I did all that messing about. And finally, welcome to the October webinar. SEO Part 2 today. Now, last month we covered SEO Part 1, which was basically getting all the basic things set up and installing Yoast. So if you haven't seen that one, it would certainly be a good idea to go back and look at that one again before you try and implement anything that I'm going to talk to you about today. But we're moving on. We're going up quite a leg today in terms of what we're going to be covering. So there's not so much basic setup and tech stuff in this, but I'm going to be talking a lot more about how SEO works and how you can start to drive traffic, use it to drive traffic to your site. And I'm going to be using my own blog as an example to show you how it works and how you can, with a bit of effort and with quite a bit of time, it does take time, you can start to get some traffic from Google, relevant traffic on topics that are closely aligned with the kind of thing that you're talking about, and then start to convert some of those people into blog subscribers, which is what it's all about at the end of the day. The blog subscribers are the people who make everything work. Okay, so yeah, Renee, it really was a painful experience, but it's not the first time. I think last time it happened, it was just a reboot and then it was fine and it worked all right. This time it was user error. Okay. So let me just quickly catch up on what I want to be showing you today. The first thing I want to do is to give you an update on, if you remember on the last one, we set up Google Analytics on the Threads demonstration site. Let me just get that site up. And I'll log in. Right, I'm going to switch over to screen share now. Hopefully this isn't too dangerous and everything is still going to work after I do that. Unlike last month when I actually gave you a blank screen. How's that? All right. Hopefully you should now be seeing, if everything is working all right, you should now be seeing my screen. I'm having a hard time believing that anything is working at the moment, but hopefully it is. So here is, yeah, that looks like that's working okay. So here is the login screen for the Threads demonstration site. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is log in. Because we'll be looking at some stuff in here as we go along. Oh, this is interesting. I've got a comment on a site that gets almost no traffic. Anthony Russell wants me to invest in something. Spam. I only have the one post on here and already it's got some spam even though the site gets no traffic at all, which is interesting. If I go to Google Analytics now, the easiest way to get there is just to type in Google Analytics in the search bar in Chrome, if you're in Chrome anyway. Go into Google Analytics. If you've already got this set up, if you haven't checked last month's, and that will show you how to get all this stuff set up. Everything seems to be going really slow on the internet at the moment. I'm not entirely sure why. Sorry about this. So I'm actually in, as you see it says here, Threads demonstration. So this is the analytics for the Threads demonstration site. Okay. So if I go into an overview of the audience, seems to be picking up a bit. And let's change the date range to be all of September up until yesterday. Basically, you can change the date range really easily just by clicking on a start date and then an end date. It's quite simple to do, and then click apply, because it defaults to showing you a week, and usually you'll want to see a bit more than that. Now these little spikes here are when people have visited. So Monday the 16th of September, that will have been probably the last webinar I think that we did, and a few people visited then. There's 11 people have visited over the last month or so. So I'm actually starting to get some data now. Okay, so this is kind of useful. So just to show you that the basic analytics setup that we did last time has actually worked, and we've got some data in here now. But the next thing we want to be able to see is, once we get everything set up, we ought to be able to see traffic from Google. So you can actually see, it says acquisition here. If you go into acquisition, you go into all traffic, and source and medium is the most useful one. For here, obviously, I shouldn't think there'll be very much. Someone came from Facebook, which is interesting. That's probably someone's clicked through from the Threads group on Facebook. This is all of you visiting when I've been doing demos. And this is probably where the spam came from, DuckDuckGo, whatever that is. That's probably the spam stuff. If I look in, let's have a look at my main site, Learning to See. Hopefully it will open on the same report. Yeah. So you can see here, the date range has presumably gone back to a week. Oh no, the date range has stayed the same. So this is about a month and a week. So Google has sent me about 8,000 visitors. 3,000 it doesn't know about, and then, you know, a few more, some from Facebook. Oh, DuckDuckGo is here again. I don't know what that is. A few more from Facebook, other search engines. So people are coming through, and if I go through and I look at my Google organic traffic, it shows me how many of them are new, haven't been here before, how many sessions. So if someone comes and visits twice in the same day and there's a half an hour between, that counts as 2 sessions, but it's only 1 user. That's what the difference is there. But there's something here that you don't see on the Threads demonstration site analytics, and that's Search Console, okay? And this is the really interesting thing there, is queries, because this will show us the keywords that people are using to find my site, okay? So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to set this up, the Search Console, for, yeah, I think you're right, Kay. I think DuckDuckGo is a search engine, and that's probably a crawler. I think so anyway. You know, they send out these little crawlers to kind of to pick up your site, and it's probably that, and it's just showing up as a proper visitor. It could be a spammy thing, I'm not sure. So what I want to show you now anyway, we'll go back to Threads demonstration site. Now this report isn't actually live yet here. So it says this report requires Search Console integration to be enabled. So that's the first thing that I'm going to show you today, is how to enable this. A crawler is a piece of software that goes out onto the web and it follows links, and then it pulls the pages and it sticks the pages into a database. It's basically how search engines find your site. They follow links from other sites. And keep that in mind, because it's going to come into what I'm going to be talking about a little bit later. Okay. So the best way to get to the Search Console, I recommend you set this up for your sites. It's really, really useful if you're going to do any SEO at all. In your browser bar or in a search or whatever, just type in Search Console and you'll see this. Now, if I go into Search Console, I see this basic thing here, but this is also, I can just go straight to it because I already have an account here. I already have it set up. So this is Google Search Console for my main site, for my blog. Okay, so this is showing me traffic. This, I think, defaults to the last 3 months, if I'm right. Is it going to show me? Yeah, July up until October. So that's giving me about the last 3 months of data, okay? But before I show you any of this stuff in here, I'm going to flip over to, let's start a incognito window. I know this is going to be a little bit awkward. Because what I need to do now, I need to log into this with a test account, okay? It's just going to take, because I was already logged in before and I had this ready before I had to restart. The reason I've gone back onto the normal screen is because I need to bring up my password file. And, you know, I know you're already trustworthy, but it's not a good idea to be. This video is actually viewable on YouTube if you know the URL. So I probably don't want to be broadcasting my passwords file to everybody. So I'm just going to get the username and password of the test account, because otherwise it will just, if I log in with my own Google account, it will just take me through to what you've already seen, is the one we already have. It's just going to take me a couple of minutes. And let's have a look. Where is the... Somewhere I will have... So now you get to see all the stuff that I actually prepare ahead of time. Okay, found it. So this is basically I have various Gmail accounts that I use for testing various things. They cost nothing to set up, and they're just really useful because you can use them to see what someone else would see when they hit your site when you're not logged in as you. Okay, so now I'm logged in to my Google account. I should be able to show you again. Yeah. Great stuff. Right, let's go back to the screen share again. So here I am. I've just gone straight to the Search Console here. So this is the page that you get taken to, okay? So the first thing to do is to click, once you're signed into your account, if you're not already signed in, it will ask you to sign in at this point, and then it will take you to this page here. Now you have two choices here, and what you want is this one, the URL prefix, okay? So what I need to do is to get the URL of the Threads demonstration site. Have I got it open here? No. So if I visit the site and then just copy this bit, the main web address is what you want, okay? And then stick it in here. Sorry, I'm just getting a bit paranoid that this is actually working okay. I'm expecting technical glitches on everything now. Hopefully it's going to be all right. Yeah, it looks like it's working. And this bit I haven't done for a very long time, so I'm going to be figuring this out as I go. So it will be a lot more at the kind of speed that you would probably be doing it. So I'll enter that. So the first thing it says is we need to verify ownership. Now this is the important bit, and Yoast will help us do this. Okay, so there's a few different ways that you can do that. An HTML file, which you can upload to your website. We don't really want to do it that way. Now there should be Google Analytics. There should be this is the recommended method, but we don't want to use this one. There should be another one here. HTML tag, we don't want that one. Tag manager, no, we don't want this one. Let's try, actually I was going to do something else, but it's not coming up. It should give you, right, if you've already set up analytics, you can probably do it this way. Your homepage must contain either your analytics.js, or if you've set up analytics, this should already be in there. Your tracking code should be, you must have the edit permission. Google Analytics tracking code is used only to vary. There used to be another way you could do this, so this has thrown me a little bit. It used to give you a verification number, but it's not doing it anymore. It must have changed fairly recently, this, because you used to be able to do this in a much simpler way. Okay, let's try this and see if it works. So if you've already got it, the Google Analytics tracking code is used only to verify. Okay, let's try it. Ownership verification failed. You have not yet created an account in Google Analytics. I think that's because my Google Analytics account is under a different login. This is getting really complicated because they're not using the old way that they used to do it. Now, is there a way around this? I may have to do it. I may have to do it in a different way. I think what I'm going to have to do, none of those are going to work. Sorry about this. This should be, yeah, they do change things all the time. Okay, it's not in there. Let's try something else. I'll try doing it on my main account and see what happens. I'll try adding it. So you should see something, hopefully you'll see something very like this, and then I need to find the link to add something. Okay, so let's see if this works. I'll get the URL again. And it's actually done it just because I had the trick there is to use the same Google account, which you will obviously always be doing. Basically, it picked it up immediately because I already had Google Analytics installed. That bit I showed you how to do on the last stream, so that's going to be the simplest way to do it. It actually is quicker than the way I was going to do it, and it looks like the Yoast SEO plugin is slightly out of date. So all you have to do is basically, as long as you're using the same account, Google account, and you've got analytics already plugged into your site, this is going to go off and check your site and see if you've got the code on there and if it matches your Google account. And if it does, it's really simple. They've actually, the way that I was trying to do it was a convoluted way, so I could demonstrate the whole thing, but I've been able to do it anyway this way. So that's basically the simplest way to do it. So obviously, this is the same as analytics in that because I've done this and I've only just set it up, it's not going to give me any data at all because this is brand new. So it will take probably a couple of days before it starts giving me any data. Okay. So what I'm going to do is to show you how this works. See, I've got it now as another property, is to go back to my main one. So once you've had this set up and it's been running for, say, 2 or 3 days, assuming that you're getting traffic, you will start to see some data in here. And this is really useful because it shows you, this isn't showing you visits, this is showing you clicks from Google search through to your site. So if there's nothing here at all, then you know you're not getting any visitors from Google. It also shows you if there are any errors on your pages, which is useful to know, although, you know, you need to know some tech stuff to be able to check if it's all right. Thankfully, none of mine have got any errors at the moment. Looks like there's a couple of things it thinks that I could do with my mobile usability. And my videos, I need to sort this out because none of my videos are tagged properly because I use a plugin to bring them in. So that's something I'm going to have to look at some point. But the bit that we're really interested in is if we go into search results, we see some really interesting stuff here. Again, you'll only see some data after you've already been plugged in for a while with this, after you've already had it running for a little while, okay? But this is showing me, basically in the last 3 months, I've had 20,000 people actually click through to my site from Google, but it's been shown in Google results 676,000 times, which is kind of a lot, which means that only 2.9% of the people who've seen the site, a link on to the site in a search results page, have clicked on it. Okay, yes, you can download the HTML file to do the verification. The difficulty with that is it's more technical because you have to upload it to your server via HTTP, via FTP, which I think is going to be a little bit more complicated than most people would want to be dealing with. So I would tend not to do it that way. Install Google Analytics because you're going to want it in there anyway. And then it was basically just a couple of clicks as soon as I was logged in to get it set up. The really interesting thing that we want to know from a search engine perspective here is what we can see here, the queries. So I've just gone into search results here. So this is showing me the keywords that are driving traffic to my site. It's showing me how often each keyword was shown in search results over the last 3 months and how many people clicked through. So if I actually have a look, if I type in, if I go to Google, do a search and I type in drawing practice, this is quite nice. It actually shows me some data in here as well. I'm a little amazed by that, but it's showing me as being the second result. Now this page here has been linked to quite a bit. My site has quite a few links and that's why it's doing okay. But also notice this here, the title, it starts with the phrase drawing practice. Now this page, the title of this page used to be just how to practice effectively, okay? And if you click through, the title that you see on the page is how to practice drawing effectively. And yet Google is picking up drawing practice, how to practice effectively. And that's because I've got a different SEO title set up for this page than I have the actual title that's shown here, the main heading. You can do that fairly easily with Yoast. And if you find that there's a keyword that you particularly want to target, that you would like to get traffic on, this is a really good way to do it. You can find the keyword. So I might have found this keyword like drawing practice perhaps was kind of doing all right for me, and then I would check it in Google and I would see that I was ranking okay, but not brilliantly, if the previous title was just how to practice effectively or how to practice drawing effectively. And then I've taken the keyword and I've put it right at the beginning, drawing practice, with the result that I now rank second on Google for it, which is not bad at all. I'd like to know who these are. I don't know. It's the old SEO in me. I don't like to see anybody ranking above me for stuff. But you can see this is really good. It's also pulled out a lot of the content from the page, which is really nice. So it shows you straight away what the page is about. Okay. So that one is doing quite well for me in terms of the amount of traffic that I'm getting through. Okay. So you could be forgiven for thinking at this point that all you really need to do is to stick these keywords. I'm going to show you how to set up a page a little later, but I want to kind of divert a little bit onto a bit of general discussion about what keywords are now and why they matter so much to SEO. Because you could be forgiven for thinking that you could just put some keywords into your blog posts and then automatically you will start to rank for them. It doesn't actually work that way because there are two sides to SEO. There's what we call on-site SEO, which is the stuff that you can do yourself to your site, which is stuff like the example I just showed you about taking a keyword and putting it at the beginning of the title, which I will show you how to do shortly. You can do that, okay, but unless you have some links coming into your site from other sites, which Google sees as a vote for your site, you won't actually rank for it and you won't get any traffic. So I'm going to be going over the on-site stuff today, mostly things that you can do to your site to focus it around particular keywords. The keyword is very important because it shows the user's intent. Okay, someone is searching for something out there on a site. You're never going to rank for oil painting. Okay, it's way too competitive, and lots of other sites that are big and powerful and have loads of links coming into them, probably Wikipedia, will be ranking for oil painting. But you can rank for less competitive terms. Okay, and I'll show you some of the lower competitive terms that I rank for. Drawing practice actually has quite a lot of traffic. That's quite a competitive one. The reason I rank well for it is because I wrote that post, I think about 8 years ago now, and a lot of people have linked to it. It ended up being a very popular post, and other sites linked to it as being a useful resource, you know. So Google looks at those links, it looks at what the page is optimized for, in this case drawing practice, and then it will bring it up in the results if someone types that in. Okay, so you need both of those things. The link building thing, there are sites that will advise you on all kinds of methods that you can use to get links to your site. I would ignore 99.9% of those because most of it is nonsense. A lot of it might get you into trouble. It's the bit that Google really looks out for, is if you're trying to get links. Like, remember I was saying last month, if we all linked to each other's sites, we would probably all get our sites banned out of Google because it would be an obvious link network. So Google looks for those kind of things. I'm in two minds about whether I'm going to go into link building, but I may do some. But for today, we're going to concentrate mostly on the on-site stuff. Okay, so I think the first place you need to start, especially when you've got a fresh site, as a lot of you have, is to be thinking about what kind of keywords you want to be ranking for. Okay, now I would recommend when you're just starting out and you've got quite a young site, you're not really going to be able to target too many keywords that are going to drive you a lot of traffic. So what I would be inclined to be starting with is to make sure that you can rank for your name. See if you can rank for your name. So let's just try something, okay? Heather, hello, don't worry, no problem being late. Distracted by confusing computers. Heather, I know just what you mean because we just actually had no sound for the first 15 minutes, but now we're finally up and running. So let's say the first thing you want to be able to rank for is your name, okay? So that's where I think you should start. So I'm going to show you how to get your site set up so that you rank for your name. But if there's anyone who has their site up and running already and wants me to have a quick check, this would be an interesting thing we can do. If you put in the chat the URL of your site and your full name, or the version of it that you'd like to appear on Google for, and then we'll see how you're doing for it, okay? Now, in the meantime, I'm going to show you a screen share again, and I'm going to show you what happens. Let's go into this one, because in this I'm not logged into Chrome here, so actually I want to log out as this person if I can. Am I logged in as anyone at the moment? I'm not sure. Probably not. So if I type in my name, let's see what comes up. So the first thing that comes up is my website, which is really nice to see. Ah, Cindy, okay, great stuff. Oh, well, look at it. Oh, everybody wants their site checked. Okay, I'll get to them in a second. Let me just show you very quickly what's coming up here. For my name, which actually is, there are a lot of other people out there called Paul Foxton as well, frustratingly. It starts with my site. Now, the interesting thing about that is if you actually look at my website, the title of my site is Learning to See, Inspiration and Practical Advice for Aspiring Realist Artists. Nowhere on this page does it say, it says Paul here. That's an image, so Google can't read it. Nowhere on this page does it say Paul Foxton, but I still rank for it, number one, for that. If someone types that my name in, it's not in the URL either. How does Google know that this site is about me? It's because other people have linked to me using words like Paul Foxton's website in the link. And that's why it knows that Paul Foxton is me. The next thing you see, it brings in videos. Google's been doing this for a long time now. It brings in videos from my YouTube channel. And it knows that this YouTube channel is related to this, okay? My YouTube channel is Paul Foxton. I think that's why if you go to Google and you to YouTube and you type in Paul Foxton, you'll find my channel. Google's been bringing in results from various different sources for some time now. The next thing it shows you is another link from my site, which is nice. Then a link to my YouTube channel. Then a link to my Facebook page, which I actually don't use for very much, but it's very good that it's there, you know. So all of this is working for me. And then it shows you some image results, yours truly, and a few paintings, you know. And then finally, there's some stuff on video, and then there's even some stuff on Pinterest. Now, I actually haven't done anything with Pinterest, so I really should sort that out. And it shows my Twitter account that I haven't used for about 10 years. Should probably just delete it. And it also shows me searches that people use related to my name, which is kind of interesting. There's obviously a head teacher out there who's not me, called Paul Foxton. Some people are looking for paintings, my paintings. Some people are looking for my palette, which is interesting. Some people for a particular painting, master in colour. So other people know about this stuff, you know. So that's quite heartening for me to find that that's like that. But let's try a couple. So I'm going to try yours, Kay, first. So let's go. So I've just got your. I'm just making sure I spell it right because I'm terrible at this kind of thing. So it looks very much like you're in one of those awful situations where you've got a famous personality who is competing for your name, and this is a really good example to bring up. This makes it pretty tough, okay? But by the time we get to the site 192.com, we're on very low quality sites, you know. This one is probably ranking because it's Taylor K. Johnson, but it's got K. Johnson in there. Is this you? Could that be you? It's not you, is it? No, this is photography, okay. So let's try K. Johnson art. Is this you? This looks like it's picking you up now. It's picking your Facebook thing up first. Let's have a look at what we've got here. Johnson is a common name, it really is, yeah. This isn't you. This is somebody else masquerading under your name. But she's actually a K. Johnson, Sandra K. Johnson, okay? So let's have a look at your actual site, which is kjohnsonart.com, I think. Okay, so what we've got here, it's nice that it's got your name here. It's got Home K Johnson Art. Okay, now let's have a quick check to see if Google knows about your site at all. Yeah, it does know about it. It does know about it. So it knows you're there, but you're not. It's not going to be sending you any traffic at the moment because you're not ranking for your own name. So what I would be inclined to do is to take away the home part here and just have it start with K Johnson Art. And I would also add a little snippet as well. And that's probably going to help you. Okay. But we're also, one of the things I want to do as part of this SEO series that we're going to be running is let's see if we can make your site actually rank for K Johnson, at least for K Johnson Art, because it's not even ranking on the first page for that at the moment. So for everyone who's put in there, the Painters Online profile is you, right? Yeah. Right, okay. It should pick up your homepage first and not your contact page. So for everyone who's put their URL in here and their name, I've been meaning to do this for a little while. I'm going to write a blog post. Beautiful looking site, by the way, I have to say. You've done a really nice job of this. I'm going to write a blog post soon on my own site about members of Threads who've got their sites together, and I'm going to link to them, okay? So I'm going to link to your site from my site. Now, as far as Google is concerned, my site is fairly powerful in terms of backlinks. If I link to someone, then I'm passing over some of the linking power that comes into my site over to you. So I'll do that. I'm going to do it probably in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll see if that improves, just to show you how powerful it can be to have a link from a good quality site, and we'll see if that gradually brings you up the rankings, okay? But the first thing you want to do anyway is to remove this home and have it just say K Johnson Art, okay? And then at the very least, you should be at the top of Google for K Johnson Art or K Johnson Artist or something like that. So yeah, you want to be ranking for your name. And who did we have next? Marilyn, let's have a look at yours. What have I done? I didn't want that at all. It's done it again. It's doing some funny stuff today. Marilyn Bailey. Even worse, this has brought up a singer who hasn't even got the same name as you, thinking that I must be doing some kind of a misspelling. She's got her own Wikipedia page. So you're in a similar position as well, where you've got someone who is going to be competing with you. But here you are, right? This is you. I know it's you because this has gone purple, so I know I've visited this link before. So you actually are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this isn't you either, is it? That's Madeline Bailey is showing against you, even for a search on your correct name, which is really annoying, okay? And your title is Welcome to Marilyn Bailey's homepage, okay? So probably the first thing that you can do, I guess you know what I'm going to say. Your site's looking really nice too, by the way. Is your title here. I would change that to say Marilyn Bailey Artist or something like that. The welcome bit, you don't really need that in the title of your site. You don't need to tell people that it's your homepage because that's going to be pretty obvious when they get there. So I would change it to something like Marilyn Bailey, and then you want to put something in, a snippet underneath that shows in the meta description. I'll show you how to do that in a second as well. So you're doing okay. You're on the first page. You might want to set up a Facebook page so that your Facebook page overtakes this as well. So you can own a little more of the first page of results there just by making a couple of changes, I think, there. Okay, so let's have a look at Cindy next. Same situation. Oh dear, you're competing with a World Cup alpine ski racer, Cindy, which is really annoying. She's got her own website too. Lots of people are writing about it. This makes it complicated for you. It does make it a little bit difficult. Okay. She is the best known Cindy Nelson on Facebook. All right. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. What if we put art? Cindy Hutton it's given us instead now. Is this you? This could be your LinkedIn. Is that your LinkedIn profile? Here we go. This is you, right? Yeah. So you are there. So you know that what I'm going to be able to say here about what could bring you back up the rankings. Okay, Renee, I'll see you soon. Okay. What you can do here to bring yourself up the rankings is to, for your title, where at the moment you've got Purple Crane Designs Home. I would change this if you want to rank for your name, which I think is a useful thing to do. Cindy Nelson hyphen Purple Crane Designs. Then you've got both of them in there. You will probably rank for Purple Crane Designs because I doubt that's very competitive. And you may start to rank then for a much, much higher if someone puts in Cindy Nelson art. So that's what I would do there. I would get, if you can, I would get a Facebook page set up, and that might help too. Obviously not everyone is going to be producing videos, and I'll show you what you can do with the image search as well to help with that stuff too. Okay. So who should I have a look at next? Sarah, let's have a look at yours. Sarah Day. I'm taking that this isn't you. Holistic Health Princess. There's Instagram. Could that be you? Okay, and there's a Sarah Day on IMDb, which means there's a film star as well, or a film person who is related. You're not, we're down to 192 again. This is like a junk directory site, and I can't see you yet. So let's say if we put Sarah Day art. Oh, Saatchi Gallery is beating you with your own work. What's your web address again? Sardine art, yeah. Is it going to show? Onto page 2, not yet. But if I put in, you spell it like that, do you? Ah. Pictures of sardines. Oh no. This is not what we want at all. So you know what I'm going to say to you. For your site, looks very nice, by the way. So we've got Sardine Art as your title here, okay? Let's just make sure that Google actually knows about you. If you put your actual web address in, it will often tell you, yeah, Google does know about you. So we've got my learning challenges, you know, and the rest of the title there. This is great. If you're comfortable with using your own name, I would put Sarah Day's Art. And then you can always find a way to put Sardine Art in there as well if you want that as kind of a branding thing. But the reason you're not showing up very much for that is because it's not in your URL here, and it's not in your page title, and that you can change, okay? So let's try Renee. Renee, I know you're quite active on social media, aren't you? So, oh, now this is interesting because your about page has come up first, which is kind of odd. Usually you would expect your home page to come up first. Yeah, that is very strange because you've got Renee L. Delight there. I wonder if Renee L. Delight brings up your home page, okay? So I would be inclined to, unless you're really attached to that L there, I would be inclined to drop it and just go here with just Renee Delight. Because unless you want people to find you for that, you know, because if I take the L out, it shows your about page, which is kind of odd. It's not a bad result, but usually you would expect your home page to be shown. So again, depending on what you want, you could change your title if you wanted to. Okay, was that everyone who wanted to be checked? I'm having a quick check through. Barbara, what's your full name? I need to know your full name before I can check. Oh, Renee's already popped off. You get to see the replay though, hopefully. Yeah, Carlene, yeah, it will be changing the title for sure. Barbara, it's going to be great for you then. You'll be all right. It's a FASO site, right? I see. Yeah. It looks like a FASO site. So I don't know how much. Presumably you can change the title though, right? You ought to be able to change some stuff on it, even though it's a FASO site. So if you want to change that stuff, let's switch over to the Threads demonstration site. So here, if you go into the settings and then general, this is where you can change the title of your site. So the title I've got here is My New Painting Blog, okay? So if you look at it, this is what shows up. Oh no, that's because I just changed it somewhere else. Let's get the right one up. My New Painting Blog is the site title, okay? And I've got a tagline. Very few of you have got anything in here. It's a really good idea to have that in because that will often show up in Google as well. And if you really wanted to rank for your name, you could repeat it there if you wanted to. It wouldn't be too bad to do that. You know, wouldn't be a major problem, I don't think. So let's have a quick look inside Yoast. And you'll see now we don't actually, this is the way that Yoast suggests to do the verification. So it should give you a code that you can put in there, but obviously it's not working that way at the moment. Why, I'm not entirely sure. But that is slightly strange. So the title is My New, sorry, let's go back to the general settings. My New Painting Blog. So if I wanted to rank for something else, say my name, I won't use my own, but let's make something else up. Billy the Painter. Save that. Then that will show up here instead now, as my site title is now Billy the Painter. Billy the Painter, My New Painting Blog. And you see underneath there, it's got My Learning Journey with WordPress, okay? That's this bit that it's pulled out. So all of that stuff will come up. This is where you can change that stuff if you want to have something a bit more descriptive. Now there might be other ways, other things that you want to rank for. So I want to show you something quickly. If I go into, won't be going on much longer today. Hopefully that's enough to give you an overview of how you can start to think about your home page. But if I look into, this should be for my site, yeah. The search results for my site. I'll show you a couple of the queries that I do come up for. Obviously, Paul Fox and I come up for how to practice drawing. These will all be the same page. This is another page which comes up. Best drawing books is an interesting one to come up for, because if I put that in as a search, his creative blog as well is doing quite well. There's other obviously sites are doing better than me. I mean, that's best drawing books is I would imagine there's quite a bit of competition to rank on that phrase, and mine is this one here, the 3 best books I know for teaching yourself to draw. So I could easily change that title. That seems to be, it seems to be the query that's going to be bringing me the most traffic for that particular page. But at the moment, sorry, I've got so many windows open at the moment. Let me change a couple. At the moment, I'm ranking like down here. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what I could do with that, because I'm logged into the site, I can go straight over to it and I can simply change the title, edit the post. Let's see, I can't actually remember if I have, I don't think I have Yoast on this site, but I have something else. I use Genesis, which gives me a way that I can change things down here. So the custom document title sets the page title as seen in browsers and search engines. So I could go best drawing books and then a colon, preferably spell it right. And I'll keep the rest of it as it is, because that will already be bringing me some traffic on other things. Update it. And then if I then have a look at the post now, the title has changed. So it will come up, the best drawing books, 3 best books I know for teaching yourself to draw. So it may well be that that could be enough. That's 11 best drawing books, top 10 best drawing books. You see, these results here have that exact phrase in them, best drawing books, which I don't at the moment. So if I change mine to have best drawings in it, I may well, we'll keep an eye on this result and we'll come back to it another time and we'll see if that changes. Now let me show you quickly, if you do have Yoast in, okay, let me get back to we've got 1 post on this site at the moment, the Threads demonstration site, my new blog post, which has already attracted some spam. Once you have Yoast installed, you can, this is an easy way for you to start editing stuff on a blog, okay? So you can put in a main key phrase and then it will start to show you how you're doing. It does a quick analysis of your page. Now I've got placeholder text here, so obviously that's just not related at all. So it's saying, yeah, your content isn't related at all to what you have in your focus key phrase. So there's no way that that's ever going to work, you know. There's a way that you can see, where is it? Snippet preview, here it is. Click on snippet preview. This shows you what that result will look like if it comes up in Google. And this is an incredibly useful thing because it means that I can change things here. So I've changed this, I put oil painting demonstration in and that changes it. I can change that to say oil painting demo. This is the URL. I wouldn't advise you play with that. That's best done in the settings, and you can add something, a meta description there. That's worth putting in. Stick something in there. And can you see how it's starting to show something different up here now? It's showing me a very different result as this. So this is, it's showing you here what Google will see, okay? So it's changed the title. This is now the title it's going to show. this is the page. That's the page title next. So it's showing Billy the Painter, which is the, yes, the page title. My new painting blog. There's no page title in here for it to show really at the moment. The separator is this is the hyphen. So Billy the Painter, my new painting blog is the site title. So it's showing me oil painting demo and then this, okay. And it updates it, you know. You can go and check it straight away. That's a really easy way to change the site title without changing what shows here. So the title here is my new blog post, but this shows here, oil painting demo, Billy the Painter, my new painting blog, okay. So that's a really simple way that you can change the title of pages without changing what the user sees. And that's a really useful thing to be able to do, okay. So in terms of the blog post, I would advise, if you can, having something here in your first bit of writing or an image above it, which is going to get somebody's attention and is going to really want them to read and to see what comes next. You know, you really want to try and hook people in. You know, I usually have an image. Quite often I do stuff like this, so this is going to get people's interest straight away. I'm talking about how we love to buy books. This is the kind of thing that, you know, I'm trying to make sure that people don't bounce straight back to the search results here, because that's a really good way of making sure that people don't bounce. Because if people come, they click on a search result, come to your site and immediately go back again really quickly, if that happens a lot, Google will start to list your site a little bit lower than it otherwise would, because it looks like it's not really engaging people, and Google can see that stuff, you know. So I usually try and make sure, like my first bit of content here on the page is hopefully something which is going to pull people's interest and keep them interested. If they manage to get far enough down your content and the content is good enough, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to link to your site, and they might link directly to your page. Very few people link to your home page. Mostly people will link directly to a deep page, which is a really useful thing, okay, if you can get that. So your homework for today, for this month I should say, is I want you to go back and have a look at your site if you haven't already done this, and let's see if we can get all of our sites ranking for our own names, okay? Sometimes that might be a bit of a big ask if you share a name with a Hollywood film star. So in that case, you want to think about something else you can add, your name and then artist or art or painting or something like that. And let's see if we can get all of your sites onto the first page of Google, okay, for those keywords. Try to rank for your own name first, and then at least people will be able to find you, and you've taken your first kind of step into doing some real SEO, not just watching videos about it or learning about it or reading about it. You're actually doing it and you're seeing some results happen. So search for your name in Google, or your name with artist and something like that with it if you need to. Find out where you rank. If you don't rank on the first page at all, it doesn't really matter. And make a note of where you rank if you do rank, and then see if you can change your title so that it fits better. And this will start to show you the mechanics of how SEO works. We'll revisit this topic, and we'll revisit this drawing book page to have a look at that again, and to see if it's starting to rank any better, okay? And this will gradually over time, we'll start to figure out how to attract more links into your site, and then hopefully start to get some traffic over from Google. But that's where we need to start, just with the basics and making sure we rank, okay? So I'm going to make a note of everyone who's popped their URL in here. I'm also going to put it up in the Threads Facebook group. And anyone who wants to, I'm going to include in a blog post sometime in the next week or two about Threads members sites, which I'm going to publish on my own site, because this is a really good way for me to actually link directly to your site, and then we'll see what happens in Google. So you've got time to check, make sure, find out where your site is ranking now, and I'll put a reminder about that in the Facebook post as well, and then I'll link to you, and then we'll see what happens to all your sites. And in this way, you should actually see SEO in action actually happening. Because I think that will probably be the best way to figure it out, okay? So unless you have any questions about any of that, I realize that a lot of that is quite theoretical. Good one, Susan. Yep, you're in there. I'll add yours too. A lot of this is quite theoretical, which is why I want to do this kind of practical test of me actually linking to your sites, and then you doing something on your site to change the keywords that it's optimized for, and then we can take it from there and we'll see what happens. SEO is a kind of an ongoing project, but you need to get some basics right first, and that's what we're covering at the moment, making sure you rank for your name and your site is set up right. And then you're going to get your first link if you don't have any at the moment, and that'll be from me. And then we'll start to talk a little bit further about how you can get some more as we go. Carlene says, my first page is showing old LinkedIn and Fine Art America and other old stuff. Should I get rid of them? No, I would say leave them, and just we'll see if we can get your site to outrank them, Carlene, because we want your own site to be the top. So that's actually quite a good test. So I'll link to your blog from my blog, and we'll see that should be enough to automatically start to outrank those other LinkedIn profiles and stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. How can you change keywords when they're not available? That's an interesting question, Marilyn. Do you mean you can't actually see anything yet in the Google Search Console, so you don't know what to edit your site to target? If that's what you mean, you can't really, because until you start to get a little bit of Google traffic, which you won't get until you have quite a few posts on your site and some people linking to you, until that happens, you're not going to get that data in the search queries. So that's really, that kind of keyword focusing is for a little bit further down the line. But what you can do right now is start to think about what keywords you think people might be possibly using to find your content, get those into your titles, and then see how you do in Google for those keywords. And that will be very instructive, because what you might find is, as I found with my drawing books post there, the keyword that was driving most of the traffic to that page, I wasn't really optimized for. So I may well be able to outrank a couple of those sites that were above me. So that will hopefully be enough to start getting some data in. It's kind of like, it's like anything in life. Test it, see what happens, look at the results. If it didn't work as well as you wanted, or you can see something you can improve, then do it. But the first thing is to just to get it set up and start it rolling. You know, you write some really nice content on your site, so start thinking about the topic post, the topic for each of the posts, and what searches you would use in Google if you were looking for that kind of thing, and then try incorporating those and see what happens. Okay. Names for FB or Instagram. Yeah. Last quick thing. If you really want to own the front page of Google for your name, or for your name related to painting or art, then a Facebook page is a really good thing. A YouTube channel is a really good thing. I know not everybody can do video, but it will really help you. And you also want your image searches to come up too. I'm going to show you another date about how you can make images show up for your name. But that can be done too. You just need to tell Google that the image on your site is related to you. It will start to happen as soon as you start to rank for your name, but a little bit further down, it will down the line, it will happen more. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff to do for now, but I'll be sticking this in the threads group with our little test that we're going to run when I write my post, link to everybody's site, and we'll see where we go from there. Okay, so thanks very much for coming. Hopefully this will be a fun and instructive experiment, and we'll see what happens. I'll next see you in a week's time when we'll have the Studio Skills live stream, which will be more on color mixing. So I'll see you then. Bye.